Welcome to Echoes of Time, a journey into the forgotten worlds and the secrets they left behind.
The Great Pyramid of Giza. It's one of the most famous, most recognizable structures on the entire planet. We see it in pictures, we learn about it in school, we think we know its story. But what if that story, the one we've been told for generations, is completely wrong? Right, let's just dive right into it. This is the big question that researcher Graham Hancock puts on the table. His whole argument is that the official story, who built them, when they were built, how they were built, it just doesn't add up. And he claims the proof isn't hidden away in some lost text, it's right there, staring us in the face. So where does Hancock's investigation even begin? Well, it starts with a really simple but really big problem. Mainstream history tells us the Great Pyramid was the tomb for the pharaoh Khufu, but for a king's final glorious resting place, it's just strangely silent. And this is where things get really weird. I mean, think about other Egyptian tombs. They are absolutely covered in hieroglyphs, prayers, stories, the pharaoh's name plastered everywhere. But inside the Great Pyramid, the walls are completely bare, not a single inscription. There was no mummy ever found inside. And the granite box everyone calls a sarcophagus, it's totally plain, undecorated, and empty. It's like an anonymous building. So the entire connection to this one pharaoh, Khufu, literally hangs by a single thread. This one quarry mark, with his name on it, supposedly found by an explorer named Howard Weiss way back in 1837. And Hancock points out that Weiss was pretty desperate for a big discovery, and he just happened to find this after blasting his way into some previously sealed chambers. It's a shaky piece of evidence to build the entire history of the world's most famous monument on, right? But okay, let's just set aside who built it for a second. We're still left with an even bigger mystery. How in the world was it built? Because according to Hancock, this pyramid isn't just a marvel of the ancient world. For its supposed time period, it's a full-blown impossibility. First, just try to wrap your head around the scale. We're talking about an estimated 2.3 million stone blocks. And these aren't just little bricks. Many of them weigh 2, 3, even 15 tons apiece. And it gets even more insane. The granite blocks way up in the king's chamber weigh up to 80 tons each. That's the weight of a diesel locomotive. And get this, they were cut from a quarry over 500 miles away and then somehow lifted hundreds of feet into the air. And here's where the math just breaks your brain. The official story says the whole thing was built in about 20 years. For that to be true, the workers would have had to quarry, shape, transport, and perfectly place one of these multi-ton blocks every 2.5 minutes, every single day, around the clock for 2 decades straight. Using what? Copper chisels and ropes? It just seems impossible. And this wasn't sloppy work done in a hurry. It was a masterclass in absolute precision. The entire structure is aligned to true north, more accurately than some modern observatories. Its massive 13-acre base is almost perfectly level, and the stones fit together so tightly you literally can't slide a razor blade between them. This isn't trial and error. This is high-level, sophisticated engineering. So, if the technology and the precision don't seem to fit that 2500 BCE timeline, Hancock asks a simple question. What if the timeline itself is wrong? And he believes the most powerful clue for this isn't even inside the pyramid. It's standing right next to it. A geologist, Dr. Robert Schoch, went to Giza and he looked at the Great Sphinx, but not like an artifact. He looked at it like a giant rock. And what he found was that the deep weathering patterns on the Sphinx and the walls of its enclosure weren't caused by wind and sand, which creates horizontal grooves. No, these were deep vertical fissures, the kind caused by thousands of years of heavy rain. Now, that creates a massive problem for the official story. The Sahara has been a bone-dry desert for well over 5,000 years. So when could there possibly have been enough rainfall to carve deep channels into solid limestone? The geology points to a conclusion that is just staggering. The last time that region was wet enough to cause this kind of erosion wasn't 5,000 years ago, but over 12,000 years ago, back at the end of the last ice age. That's a full 8,000 years before the pyramids were even supposed to exist. And here is the absolute clincher. That date from geology, around 10,500 BCE, is independently confirmed by the stars. Another researcher, Robert Bauval, discovered that the layout of the 3 Giza pyramids is a perfect map of the 3 stars in Orion's belt. But not the sky today. They match the sky at one very specific moment in the past, 10,500 BCE. So you have geology and astronomy, two totally different fields of science, pointing to the exact same, impossibly ancient date. So if the pyramids and the Sphinx are really over 12,000 years old, that brings up the biggest question of them all: who built them? I mean, this was long before the Sumerians, long before any known civilization was supposed to be around. And this is what leads us to Hancock's incredible, mind-bending theory. Hancock's idea is that the builders were the survivors of a highly advanced global civilization, one that was almost completely wiped out by a massive cataclysm around 12,800 years ago, when comet fragments hit the Earth and melted the ice caps. He believes these people weren't primitive hunter-gatherers. They were master astronomers and engineers who encoded their knowledge into these giant stone structures so it would survive the ages. And he argues that Giza isn't some one-off case. He sees the fingerprints of these survivors all over the planet. In the pyramids of Mexico, the celestial alignments of Angkor Wat in Cambodia, all these ancient sites that show a surprisingly sophisticated knowledge of astronomy and engineering. He believes they all point back to one common, forgotten ancestor. Okay, so if this evidence from geology and astronomy is so powerful, why isn't it accepted history? Why don't we all learn this in school? Well, Hancock alleges that it's not just being ignored by academics, he says it's being actively suppressed. And he points to a really clear pattern. Back in 1993, a little robot exploring a shaft found a sealed door deep inside the pyramid, and then the whole investigation was just shut down. More recently, in 2017, scientists using advanced scans found a massive hidden void, a secret chamber the size of a passenger jet. And in the years since, nothing. No public excavation, just silence. So why the secrecy? According to Hancock, this isn't just about protecting some old academic theories. It's because proving the pyramids are thousands of years older than we thought would rewrite the entire timeline of human civilization. It would mean our story doesn't start with simple farmers, but with the survivors of a forgotten, highly advanced world. And that, well, that changes everything. And that's where all of this leaves us. Is the Great Pyramid really just a tomb for a king, built 4,500 years ago? Or could it be something more? A time capsule? A warning? A message left for us by a civilization that we've almost completely forgotten? The clues are all there, sitting in the desert. But the final answer, well, that's still buried in sand and controversy.
This was Echoes of Time. If you love powerful history stories, subscribe and continue the journey with us.